figure out how to like
How did you
still stir up.
find
Yeah,
training? How did you find the online training? Because I have my opinions on online training. Like I value it as a tool. I think it's
sure.
great because I was heavily using it. I think we were out of lockdown in Toronto in July, August last year. So
Yeah.
that's when I had my Achilles surgery. So I was very limited mobility wise.
Yep.
I could only do some of my clients that were close to me because I couldn't drive, right? So I would have to
Yeah.
take Uber. But I was using it very much in that time. Pretty much I would sit there on the freaking computer training people for 4 hours in the
Yeah.
morning in a row. And my biggest issue with the online training and training people through Zoom and that kind of the new thing that came out of all this was that you really lose the human touch. Like
Yeah.
and I personally like, you know how difficult it is if someone's just pick a simple movement like a squat. They're doing a squat and I'm like, no, turn to the side. No, move turn your screen up. Yeah, tilt it that there you go, perfect. Do your squat
Yeah.
now. Like that kills the whole vibe of the whole workout and any flow that you have. So how do you find it as a tool? Did you find it
Um, I probably like similar obstacles as you know, trying to be more technical and you obviously don't have your tactile cues anymore because that's taken away from you, right? But the good thing about it is, you know, it's kind of like when you lose your vision, all of your other senses become heightened, right? So
yeah.
on Zoom online coaching, I don't have the ability to put people in the positions that I want them to be in. So if someone is more of a tactile learner, not an auditory learner or a visual learner, you have to be really good with your other skills as a coach.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know, Zoom wasn't made for training people,
No.
right? And in like a one-on-one setting, it's okay. It's not ideal by any means, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Now imagine you put like
20
30
people.
people, 20 people, 30 people, 5 people on a screen, you know, and now you have 5 different screens that you're trying to tell everyone like, okay, you know, Joan, turn your screen this way. Mitch, your screen's too close. And you've got some people who are like standing in front of their screen and you've got another screen where the dogs kick their camera over. And it's like,
A black screen and you're like,
yeah, yeah, you've got the people who don't like to be on video, so they only tune in when like you call them out.
yeah.
So I mean, it's not ideal by any means, and like I said, Zoom was never made to be uh, a 1 to 50 person audience, you know. And then you get like the lag time, and you're trying to play music, and people have their screens on at the same time. You're getting a clash of all these sounds. Yeah, it was not fun, but I will say that just the whole idea of online training was something that our business never really touched before the pandemic, right? So now it's like, I would say it's like 30% of our business, you know? So I have the members at our gym, I have our personal training clients or whatever that we do in the physical space, but a good 30% of our business now is completely online. So we still do remote training for people who might be working out from home. Maybe they have a gym, you know, where they're at, but they don't have a coach. So we still do a lot of programming remotely with people all over the world, which is, you know, something that we would have never thought of doing beforehand. We kind of had to learn as we went.
Yeah. Like I've talked to a lot of gym owners too during this time, and I think the ones that came out of the ones that came out of this were the ones that were able to pivot, so to speak. And when I say pivot, I don't mean like change their whole business model and you know leave the type of fitness or type of exercise brand they were doing before, but just say, okay, this is the circumstances we're dealt with right now. How can I still make money and how can I still keep everything going? And then
Hmm.
pivot towards that, but not sort of lose sight of what the actual business is. Like, for example, like my coach did a lot of the Zoom training with jujitsu, and let's be honest, like you can put a bag dummy in your living room as much as you want. It's not fucking jujitsu,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, he did a good job at just still being making that interest, and I'm sure it's physically exhausting too on the instructors and the teachers and the business owner because um, having to deal with all that back and forth, especially like you were saying, like with it's hard to instruct 100 people at one time. It's hard to
Yeah.
instruct 20 people at one time. It's easy to instruct 20 people at one time when they're all there and you can physically attend to them. So
Yep.
it's taxing on the instructor as well. And so, I mean, it's not a ideal fitness setting, but I mean, the best people who made it out of this are the ones that adjusted to it. And I mean, like you said, it's become a part of your guys' revenue stream, and that's the same thing with my business. It wasn't a focal point of business, and now it has become one because like I started getting clients from all over Canada doing Zoom stuff just based
Yep.
on referrals and that kind of thing. But I wasn't even thinking about like, there was no part of my business plan that said, oh, you're going to be training online boxing on Saturday mornings with a bunch of people in Ottawa and all that. I'm like, that was never in my business plan, but it became
Yeah.
part of the business plan. So it was a blessing in disguise because that's not only a separate revenue stream, but I'm able to reach other people
Yeah.
and where I couldn't do it before. I mean,
And
so
I think people try to pick one or the other when in reality, like you can do a hybrid of both. You
yeah,
know, a lot of people that were doing the online training or they were forced to do online training, kind of vowed like they would never go back. You know, once doors could open back up and we can get back into the physical space, most people piled back into the space once everyone kind of felt comfortable and they weren't, you know, fearing anything that could potentially happen to them and everyone was just excited to get back and see people. I feel like Zoom and remote training kind of took a bit of a back seat, but you can use both of them together synergistically, right? Like we have a ton of people now who come into the gym that still do training online, and it might not be in the confines of like physical training, but like we still do nutrition, we still do accountability, we still do prehab work for people at home.
yeah,
And those are people that do both. So we call them like dual clients because they get training at home remotely, but then they can also still come in and get their training with the group as well. So it's not a matter of like you have to pick one or the other. It doesn't have to be an extreme. Like you might do a jujitsu lesson, you know, on the mats in person, but you might have a one-on-one client that just wants to work on like an arm bar from home, you
yeah,
know, and you have 5 or 6 different drills that you can drill with them at home. You don't necessarily need another body there. It helps, but if this kid just wants some extra reps, like that's something that you can do.
yeah. The one thing I found about um, martial arts training, specifically boxing and kickboxing, and teaching it online is when I'm in person and I'm holding pads, I don't, I can see the technique and I
Mhm.
can feel it, but I don't get to see it from a third person point of view.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm at the third person point of view, I can actually see small details a lot better. I mean, obviously, depending on the position of the stupid camera and all that shit, but uh, if I can see technical details a little bit better, so I find my ability to instruct has improved in that sense because of the third person view. So it's almost like when you sit down on like a Saturday night and watch like the Wilder fight or whatever,
Yep.
and you're like, "Ooh, that's poor defense." Like
Yeah.
holding pads for that person, I wouldn't be able to technically
Yep.
tell all the
Yep.
time. Except now I'm looking at it from a different vision, and I can.
Yeah.
So there is some sort of benefits to that model, but I think the thing that you said that was important was that hybrid sense because I've been doing that the whole time. I have in-person clients, but I still have them using my app online because there's
Yeah.
only so much time I spend with you in the gym. Like, say I have a client that I spend 2 hours with, 1 hour twice a week. That's not enough time to reach most of their goals,
Mhm.
and a lot of the goals have to be done almost on your own. Accountability, so to speak. You have to do it on your own. However, some people still need that guidance and that ability to reach out to a coach whenever they need to, or be able to see their programs or have those things made up. So that online presence and being able to say open, like for me, for my business, open up your app, fucking do your workout. Simple as
Yeah.
that. If you have
Yeah.
it, if we need any changes, send me a message. I change it right away. Your nutrition's in there. There's no guesswork. You just do it, right? And
Mhm.
even though you're only seeing me 1 hour or 2 hours a week, it's almost like you're getting that guidance throughout the whole week without.
Yeah, there's more touch points,
Yeah,
right? Like you're able to, then that's the whole accountability thing. Like if you have, let's say 12, 15 clients, you might see each of them on average, what, like 2 or 3 times a week. Like you have to think, what are they doing the other days that they don't see you?
Yeah.
And the online part for us, that's a huge thing because they're still checking in every single day. I might not be in the gym with them physically, but I'm still checking in on them every single day. I still know, how much they're sleeping, how much they're drinking, they're eating, if they're hitting their workouts. And just to kind of touch on what you just said, being able to see someone from a different scope, through the lens of a camera as opposed to being there in person.
Yeah.
It's very much like when the coaching apps first came out, right? Like if I was teaching someone a clean and jerk, to see it in person, things move at us, so fast in a millisecond that I might miss something. But if I can record that footage, slow it down, now I can go into my coach's eye and I can draw angles, I can draw lines, and now give this person something that they can review, days later. It starts to click a little bit better because in person, you might give them a cue. They may or may not get it, and then you move on. But at least now they have like a clip of themselves. A lot of people, especially with jujitsu and weightlifting or anything where you're not doing it in front of a mirror all the time, they think they're doing it one way.
But it's done another, yeah.
It's done another way. And then they see it on camera and they're like, oh fuck, like I had no idea I was pulling the bar early or, maybe making an attempt at the submission incorrectly. But when they see themselves doing it, it's almost like another teaching moment for them where they're like, I thought it felt this way, but that's not the way it actually is in real life. So the video part, along with actual in-person training is a powerful tool to have, especially if you're a coach teaching something super technical.
Now you guys, that clip, please head on over to the link below to my YouTube page and watch the rest of the podcast. If not, you can always find me on Spotify or Apple or Google Play or all those. We're on everything. Download, listen in your car, get it going. Thank you for the support. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.